What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Alexander here with another video of Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. And I guess you can call this a collectible video. We're doing this a little early because I've gotten all of them. And the first thing I'm going to do is this, and I think it's going to read off that, so...
Ivab gelebren iachortha ivorn tridiol hith efuen an achared di werienin anan erio thelaith gurth edwenno ogwath trilaich puigadol dagor nathadir edwegenin inaudir edil nunamnin Natha Tognir Inain, Iwath Dangarnen, Ochedin Valanor, Anadlethad Nor Eduath, Noded Ramas Enaldon, Michan de Morchir, Natha Lekalad Arfigad, Nin Gostatha Gwaithban Agelatha.
That it? Yeah, seems like it is. Alright, now let's actually read this. It says, I am the bright lord of Mordor, the silver hand that drives back the darkness, reaching through the fog of night to avenge those long betrayed. Arise from fields of death, and march forth from the shadow, through the purifying flames of war. You who were once Eldar shall be reforged, beneath my hammer. The bringer of gifts, the betrayer shall be unmade. I renounce the blessed realm to redeem the land of shadow, and bind the walls of Arda. In place of the Dark Lord you shall have light undiminished. All shall fear me and rejoice. Yeah, and I've gotten all the artifacts too. Now, here's the neat thing about this. Well, actually, let's read this before. So, a remarkable find, this artifact may date back to the Second Age, to the great Numenorian incursion wherein the Dark Lord Sauron willingly fell into captivity. It would likely have been used by a healer to grind roots and herbs and the creation of poultices and urgents required to keep an army hale and relatively healthy. And there's her memory.
The first messengers have rolled into camp. They're reporting few casualties. We've struck a mighty blow against the forces of Mordor aligned against us. Let it be so, and not fools' idle chatter. Haggador, what news?
They say we've won a monumental victory! You'll not be needing all that Athelis you've been grinding, my friend. Few need healing on this day. And more's the wonder. They say the Golden King has brought back a prize. Sauron himself! They're in the heavy chains!
Yeah. That's the cool thing I like about these. And we are going to go through every one of these, even if it takes a long time, like a couple videos. So before Numenor fell, its priests and dark acolytes held sacrifices to strange gods in the temples, and graven idols such as these were freely worshipped. This idol represents Morgoth, the first Dark Lord of Middle-earth, and was likely carried to the mainland by missionaries seeking to spread his vile message. Now we gotta find the memory. There we go.
Farazon. He's being sold a bill of goods, all right. And what do we get? More war! More taxes. Ha! Human sacrifice in the town square. You can hear the screams all day and all night, and we're made to worship this hideous thing. The great tree kindling. The king's ears filled with rubbish from his advisor. The great chained wonder, Sauron. Now princely Sauron. Islandale is right. Numenor is ruined. The boats can't take us away from this charnel house fast enough.
There we go. This is kind of a lore video. Strange rock. Orodruian's eruptions are sudden and violent. When the mountains awake in fire, none are safe. The skies darken with smoke and ash, and fiery rocks are shot high into the air before landing with deadly force. This glassy obsidian stone is one of those volcanic rocks. It dates back to the Second Age, perhaps to when the Dark Lord formed his initial bond with the volcano. These remnants of Orodruian's fury are prized for their hardness. They are often shaped to make weapons. There we go.
Where'd you get off to, child?
I found this, Daddy.
This kind of rock is very rare. It comes from the volcano. There. Now, Doom is a foul place, angry and mean. It will explode when Sauron is near and plotting. spitting all manner of foulness into the air. Smoke and dust and rocks that burn the ground. It does this as a warning. I will not stay silent for long. Sort of like your mother. Don't tell your mother I said that.
So this rock is...
It is a rock, nothing more. And you needn't be afraid of a rock or doom, which is silent to this very day. And sweetie, if you need a lesson from all this, why, here's a fine one. Even a foul place like that volcano can produce beautiful things.
There we go. Excavator cog. This cog was spit from one of the great Uruk war machines, perhaps an excavator. As the Uruks push farther and farther into Mordor, they have torn up the land seeking resources to fuel their Dark Lord's massive war effort. Excavators churn the ground to uncover metal for the forges, clay for the kilns, and any artifacts, weapons, or tools that might be of use. See, right there. That's where we want.
Here, found it in Udun.
What is it?
They got these machines, see? And they're digging up everything in Udun. The thing tears the land up. Then the slaves pick through everything. Clay and mud go to the kilns. If they find metal, that goes to the forges. Anything they can use, they take back. And if they find an old weapon or piece of armor, they hand it off to the Urukai, the big uns. Maybe to study, maybe to wear. I don't know. They're on the move for sure.
We must know what is happening in Mordor. We have other eyes there, but yours are sharp. You serve us well. You will return there and report back. The Council must not learn of your actions. Do not get caught.
Alright, 1 second here. Alright. Numenarians carried a great many things with them in their great diaspora. Their journey was long and perilous, and not all who undertook it lived to see their new homes. They carried with them what they could. Beyond their physical possessions, the tools and the trinkets, they also carried with them their shared dreams for a better life. The land was consumed, but they would live on, and the relics are spread throughout Middle-earth. There we go.
He's in jail for a reason.
For saying what we're all thinking.
You want to live forever? Plow in this field?
The elves lord it over us. Don't they just? Sauron's right. We can live without pain, without growing old.
And you want to go to war to make that happen?
I want the king to listen to good ideas.
Well then, he should have nothing to do with Sauron. Fighting with the elves is not a bad idea. It's the worst idea imaginable.
Alright. Interesting. The horn heralded the great victory at the end of the Second Age by the last alliance and at the Battle of Dagorlad. It blew in defiance of the mouth of Sauron and an assembled army of more than 300,000 orcs, and the Dark Lord himself who ruled over the forces aligned against the men and elves. It sounded the charge on the battle plain and serenaded the fallen dead, those unfortunate souls who would be forever doomed to haunt the dead marshes.
They say the enemy is weak on the left, and that the dwarves will tear through them there. Maybe then we can leave these filthy marshes and go home. Yesterday, the enemy made a call for parley. We saw the emissary's party ride out, a terrible black figure atop a black horse, and flanked by 2 huge men, similarly clad in black. They were not allowed to ride among our lines. Amid suspicion, they would scout our disposition and report back to their vile master. Instead, a small group of elves and men rode out to meet him. We could not hear what was said, but there will be no peace. Around the camp there are whispers. They say the emissary's mouth blackened and burned with Sauron's words, and that saying them caused the emissary great pain. He promised only slavery and toil, and I am compelled to believe it. I cannot help but think we will never make it into Mordor. Only death awaits us here.
Look, one of the people that were at the thing. Pickaxes. Uruk referred to mining as working the black seam. as they extract iron and adamant from the earth to fuel their war machine. They are adept miners and oftentimes use steel pickaxes such as this one to extract ore. Now, however, the pickaxes are in the hands of slaves and the Uruk serve as overseers. What we got? There it is.
Black captains and Urukai. Damned if I can't tell who's worse. Who are we working for these fools in the first place? We should be in charge.
Come on. Don't you want to crack the whip instead of having it cracked over you?
You'll be the death of us talking like that.
Here now. Think I'm talking about talk? I'm talking about less whining, more mining. Here's the first throw I'll cut.
Alright. Grog Bowl. The myth of the filthy crud-encrusted Uruk Grog Bowl is just that. Uruk trainers beat it into their charges to keep their grog bowls as clean as possible to avoid the old soldier's disease. These bowls are commonly made of clay and baked in huge kilns. But Mordor has proved a fruitful realm for the Uruks, and now some bowls are made of metal and wood. Where is... Oop, there it is.
We'll go tonight. No more being bossed around by that damned Urukai. We'll sneak into the barracks and bleed that spark dry. He won't be so high and mighty when he's dead. And we'll run the place. You and me. All's for us.
Face me? More grog? We won't be going hungry. That's a fact.
Alright. A deadly shiv, this serpentine blade has played a role in many betrayals. Uruk power struggles are legendary. Weakness is not tolerated, and warriors move up in ranks by murdering their superiors. The Uruks have been roused by their recent successes in Mordor, and as the soldiers' ambitions grow, weapons such as these are becoming more and more common.
Remember me, filth?
What the?
Change of plans, lads. I'm in charge. And we're gonna tear the Black Hand up. Don't you forget about me! Oh yeah, right. My, memory's not that good.
I'm assuming this is the same orcs and that they just finally killed the Uruk High Captain that they were after. This utterly unremarkable basket has seen better days. Few, if any, of the outcast possessions have survived. In bygone days, this basket would likely have been carried by a woman on her daily errands, and used to carry all manner of goods. So we can find the... Oop, there it is.
Stop! Do not move! By order of Gondor, trespassing on the Morannon is punishable by death. Do not... Woman? The outcasts now send women alone to steal from us.
Do your worst, Ranger, but I will fight.
You were but skin and bones.
I can still fight.
Gather what you can and run. Quickly, before the others see you. Shouldn't be let to starve. Quickly now. Go. Go!
Was that Aaron and Hirgon? I think it was, because it sounded like them to me. Rangers Reading Primer. The Rangers of Gondor are not just powerful warriors. They also perform a host of duties throughout the kingdom. Depending on the circumstances, a ranger may be called upon to serve as a mediator, a judge, a medic, and, on occasion, even a teacher. Rangers have been known to carry basic reading primers, and during their stays in villages, where opportunities for learning are scant, to select a few favored pupils and show them how to read and write. Let's find the... There it is.
Sound it out now.
Fear no. Fear no. Why must you put me through this, Hirgon?
There's no one to blame but yourself. You begged me to teach you the words in my books.
I regret that now. What use is the page here in Mordor?
Here, look at this. It's a note for you.
My love. Be my knife?
Try again.
Life?
Or... wife.
Wife? Yes, Hirgon. I am yours.
It, so it was all Aaron and Hirgon. Learn a bit more about them. Like how they came to... Like everything with them. Like how they met and whatnot. Right, this almanac has been bound in leather and appears to be more than a century old. The writings within is a compilation of history, poetry, and translations from across Middle-earth. It gathers together works of antiquity from the great realms of Gondor, Arnor, and Numenor, and even some samples of songs from the distant halflings. The most curious entry is a lament, right? Yeah. A work of metered verse whose controversial origin has been debated among scholars for many years. It has been suggested by some that its author was an Ent, one of the ancient shepherds of the trees. Let us find the memory. Here we go.
Are you Athelas or Hithless? I can't find anything in this almanac. Well, only one way to be sure. Cheers. Now I wait. This will either cure my fever, or I'll be dead in seconds.
It shan't do either. You'll need to ground it up for its healing properties.
You, the outcast woman.
I'm Erin. I never got to thank you, Ranger. There are but few of your kind on the Black Gate.
Duty clouds kindness in these parts. That's why I deserted. I'm here gone.
Yes, these aren't exactly in order of how things went. This helmet was once used by the outcast of Udon for secret rituals. The horns and the leather were taken from the wild kind of Arwa. I'm probably mispronouncing these, sorry if I am. Hunted far from Mordor and the fields of ruin. It dates from a distant time when these men were prisoners of Gondor, made to toil on the construction of the Towers of the Teeth. Even now, the outcasts remain mistrustful of those wearing metal armor. This helmet is a reminder of dark times past, a harbinger of darker times to come, and a symbol of the outcast's determination to never again live under the yoke of slavery. There it is.
You've let me into your homes. You've let me into your lives. And now you bestow upon me your greatest honor. Though I come from the Black Gate, though I was once known to you as the enemy, I turn my back on Gondor. You people, you outcasts as you've been named, are people of honor, people of strength. I have found love within your tribe, but for your tribe as well. And you have taught me of a life I thirsted for, but never knew existed. Now it is my time to teach you. I will impart to you all my knowledge of war. And the orcs push us, but we will find strength and push back. And this land will be ours.
Alright. Got a tattered note now. A parchment letter sent by the outcast Erin details her imminent capture by the Uruks. The note is clearly intended for Hirgon, her husband and leader of the outcast. Whether it has reached its intended recipient is another matter entirely.
My dear Hirgon, I hide outside the camp and pray they do not find me. They are taking anyone they find into slavery. If only you were here. But I know you must fight the Uruks, or there will be no chance any of us will ever be free. I fear I will never see you again, if they find me. I do not know how long I can survive. Your beloved wife, Erin.
Aww. Ranger's cloak. These decorative metal bands were used by rangers primarily to keep their cloaks closed. As guardsmen of Gondor, rangers were held to exacting standards by their masters, and this meant keeping their clasp polished. Rangers would use the clasp as makeshift signal devices, catching sunlight to create reflective flashes to communicate with their comrades over long distances.
The towers will be up soon. Don't know why we're calling them the Teeth. They should be called the Jaw.
Because they'll be hitting us there.
Indeed. Right in the jaw and as often as they can.
That's a grim outlook, brother. We'll be able to see into Mordor here, and bite if necessary.
Now, this will be a longer video. Like, I'm going to go at least 40 minutes with this video. These are prisoner shackles, leg irons to be specific. They date back to the Second Age and were not likely worn by Gondorian captives. Or most likely worn by Gondorian captives. Men and women whose involuntary servitude built the Towers of Teeth flanking the Moranon. These captives would later throw off their shackles and begin a new life as outcasts in Udin. Some would keep their shackles to remind themselves of their hardships.
All right, worms. Welcome to the Black Gate. You'll be building our watchtowers for us. Hard work will be rewarded.
Sir, do you mean hard work will be rewarded with a shorter sentence?
The traitors, the lot of you, murderers and thieves. When I say rewarded, I mean I won't throw you to the catacombs.
Gondor was a real piece of work, wasn't it? The skies over Mordor are being cleared by fell beast, the Hellhawk. Crows such as this poor fellow are hunted relentlessly, but not as food. No, crows are hunted because each of the oversized blackbirds is a potential spy, a messenger who might be carrying news to a master outside of Mordor. This crow met its doom trying to deliver a coded note.
Here's what I saw. I told you the orcs are digging everywhere. Well, they've dug huge caves into the ground in the side of the hills and into the mountains where they do their work. Some of it's forges, and they got blacksmiths making armor and all kinds of weapons. They save on metal by making their armor for the front only. Like they're not planning on retreating anymore. Oh, and they got these huge pits too, bigger than I've ever seen. They pull the new orcs, maybe 100 or so a day. Some of them are those Urukai. You can tell them right away, because they've got a head or so on other orcs. They come out fighting, and immediately start bossing everyone else around. No one's the wiser about me spying. But don't send no more clothes. The other orcs might get suspicious.
Seemed like it didn't matter. This simple metal prod is a burglar's best friend. The pick is small and easily concealed. It can be palmed or even hidden under the tongue with minimal effort. In the hands of a skilled thief, the pick can be used to quickly and quietly defeat most locks of non-magical origin. And this?
Sir, the situation is very confused. How is it confused? I see the prisoners escaping, running towards the gates, which seem to have flown open by sorcery or sabotage. Archer, stand down! Sir, we're not wasting good arrows on those people. They've served their purpose. They're damned. They're damned well out of my hair. Mordor can take the whole stinking lot of them. And send my compliments to the captain of the gates. I suppose he sent me this lockpick as some sort of joke.
Okay. Branding iron. Not old Scorchy is a common refrain among the orcs of Udin. It is interesting to note that while branding with red-hot irons as punishment is commonplace, with the orcs searing the flesh of their unruly brethren as much as they do their slaves. Old Scorchy is unique, used only on the most recalcitrant. The orcs believe Scorchy holds sorcerous powers, enabling it to burn longer and hotter, and to scorch with such intensity and the pain can be felt for weeks after the branding.
All right, you. You're not so brave now, are you? Hold him, boys. Get your filthy hands off me! It's simple, see? Do unto others quicker and harder than they do unto you. But at least you tried. Next time, try harder. This is going to hurt a lot. But you'll learn who's in charge.
No! Not old Scorchy! Anything but old Scorchy!
Alright. So a little bit more of the brutality of orcs. Bad news has wings, the saying goes. So it was with the dispatches from Erebor heralding the orcs' great defeat, the Battle of the Five Armies. This particular scroll made its way into Mordor, carried by a messenger whose ill tidings were received less than warmly by his comrades. Though the courier's identity was never revealed, he was referred to by the orcs with great affection as Dinner.
It's never good news. Yeah, I saw to it he didn't. All right, you stinking lot. Shut your gods! Shut it!
Got some terrible news here. Terrible. Once again, the filthy humans sided with the dwarves, who had help from those sanctimonious bastards, the elves, who were rescued by me. And I am not making this up. The damn giant eagles to slaughter thousands of our brethren in what we should all be calling the battle to unfairly gang up on the orcs. Our lands get invaded, our chieftains killed, and our people murdered. Where does it end? Well, I tell you it ends here, and it ends right now. They can't stop the march of progress. They can't stop us!
Oh, the bad guys always try to say, oh no, we're not bad, we're just doing what we should be doing. Anyways, this crudely carved figurine depicts two enigmatic wizards who came to Mordor hunting a great evil. Although the pair likely never escaped the cursed realm, their exploits were well detailed and may have inspired the creation of magical cults throughout Middle-earth.
See, there were two of them, and they both came in from the road with a hard look in their eyes, as if they traveled too far and seen too much. They were wizards, true, both of them caked in dust. And when one would talk, he'd stop to think, and there would be the other to finish right up. Like they had one brain and two mouths. It was creepy for sure, but neither seemed to notice. I heard them say they were hunting the darkness. Damned if I know if they found it. But I guess those fellows can find trouble when they're looking for it.
Alright. Sounds like two fun wizards. Across Mordor, the two trees of Valinor are recognized as a symbol of the light of creation and of the ancient bond between elves and men. This medallion half, crafted by the elves, commemorates the original two trees of legend, whose scions now survive only in the White Tree of Gondor.
All right. Hold still. I'm afraid to say it's going to... It's going to hurt. I've done all I can. We've called for one of your people, but I don't... In the meantime, why don't you tell me about that? The medallion you're holding.
You just want to distract me. Very well. These are the two trees of Valinor. A symbol of the endless cycle. Life, death, and rebirth. Come closer, and I will tell you their tale. We must... I feel we must distract ourselves from the grim happenings of this day.
Alright. Now the other half. The elves of Irgon crafted wonderful medallions, tokens they carried into battle for inspiration and to remind themselves of their history. This particular artifact, representing the fabled two trees of Valinor, appears to have been split by a particular wicked blade wielded by a powerful foe. Its missing half may have been carried off to distant lands.
I'm sorry. His wound was too great. I had thought...
You stayed with him. It is enough.
Here. He'd probably want you to have it. It's broken, but...
No, human. You keep it. These are ancient things, those trees. We watch them wither and die with the cold, but always they return. We see strength in their roots, and hope as they stretch into the light. Let this token remind you of the elf you tried to save, of the bond between your people and mine.
That's neat. Well, alright. This parchment contains a note, but its author and intended recipient remain ultimately unrevealed. And is this a dispatch of some kind, a recounting of great deeds, poetry? The note is coded and its message remains indecipherable.
The damn flies seem to be following me. I can't hardly go nowhere without them buzzing around. I was going to scout Tower Bond, the slave city. The orcs got a prison there, and enough people in chains to run the mines and the mills and make the city go. But there it was. One stinking fly. I could hear it buzzing, but couldn't see it or squash it. Thing was following me, I swear. I was out on a skip, in the middle of the Sea of Nurn, and the fly was coming along for a ride, like it knew, following me like all the time. I can't get the buzzing and humming to stop. It don't matter whether I'm sleeping or eating or squatting. I can hear them. They're in my damn head. Make them stop!
Seems the orc went crazy. This sigil has seen much use. Originally, it served an important ceremonial function in preparing ritual feast. However, since the invasion of Nurn by the Uruks, every blade that can be turned into a weapon has been used by the tribesmen in the resistance. The owner of this knife held it defiantly until the end.
Here, take this. I want someone watching over Queen Marwen at all times. I am afraid she may do harm to herself. Now go. Mother, what is happening to you? Is this gift worth the price you are paying?
The end of darkness is worth whatever price. Such is the spirit of Nurn and Netharia.
Nurn needs you, Mother. These visions do not bring us enough benefit to befit your loss.
But they do, my child. I have seen a vision of the Ringmaker, Celebrimboy himself. It is through him alone that Nurn may be saved.
Alright. Ornate cameo. This piece may have been commissioned by men and crafted by the dwarves. It is known the races trade freely between each other and in turn with the elves. Many fine wares would find their way into Mordor via trade facilitated by the Sea of Nurn. Such trade routes have closed, possibly with finality, with the return of the Uruks.
Isn't it lovely, dear? The dwarves made this.
You've been drinking. You smell like a mule who's gotten into the rock gut.
It's a fine anniversary present. And look at the craftsmanship.
Our anniversary was last week.
It was brought in from the sea.
You mean you won this at the tavern? My husband. Get in the house.
Someone was in trouble. Along with the millions of volcanic rocks to be found within the mountainous borders of Mordor. This stone is unique. It is a dwarven whetstone used to sharpen axes, knives, and swords to a keen edge that will cut through even the toughest Uruk armor or the stony skin of a troll. It's the keen edge what cuts the mountain, as the saying goes. Whoever the stone's user was, he was most thorough in his efforts.
Keep sharpening. You've got to hone your axe until its edge can split one of your beard hairs in two.
Oh, it's sharp enough to kill a growl. Then pass me the pipe.
Sharp enough ain't what the hunt's about, little brother. You've got to learn to respect the hunt. A keen blade for a clean kill. Without respect for the beast, we're no better than the orcs. Now, let's give her a taste.
For Durin, give a dwarf fair warning when you yank hairs from his beard.
Look at this, Torvin. Split the hair in two. There's hope for you yet.
Alright. Scrimshaw. Mumak Tusk. This carved tusk commemorates the conclusion of an epic hunt. Here we see two dwarves. The first is wielding a mighty axe and striking a deadly blow against the giant Mumak. The other, who appears to be his twin, flees from the beast in panic. The quality of the workmanship indicates that the artist was a master craftsman under the influence of strong ale.
There, it's finished. A true masterwork. What a fine carving. The front, I etched us killing this here Mumak. And the back, our next prize, the mighty Graug. A beast like that is a hunter's legacy.
Show me the carving.
Isn't it magnificent? Such detail. Look at me striking the mighty beast. Blood everywhere.
And why am I etched running away from the Mumak in terror?
Artistic license, Brother Torvin. If you want to be the hero, I suggest next time you make the carving.
Pipewee pouch. The pleasant smell of pipeweed emanates from this oversized pouch. The owner of this pouch harvests both the leaves and flowers of the pipeweed plant in equal measure. The leaves are commonly dried and smoked in pipes, and the flowers chewed to create a potent narcotic. As for the pouch itself, it appears to have come from the poison sac of an ungol. Or ungol.
Careful with the pouch, Torvin. It almost went in the fire.
Wow, that old thing. Time to get rid of that rag. It barely keeps the pipeweed dry.
It is a rag, brother. And I'll keep this souvenir from our first hunt till it turns to dust. Remember us tracking that great spider through Mirkwood nearly 60 years ago? Then drawing her out using live bait.
Yes, but why do I always have to be the bait?
You have a quality. You make things want to kill you. It's a gift, really. But Torvin, this was your first kill. Ours together is what made you a hunter. And I'll treasure it always, brother.
Alright, blood-stained buckler. Dwarven made and built to withstand great amounts of punishment, this wood and steel buckler served its user well. Many marks and scorching hints a hint to its usefulness in combat, but the bloodstains are perhaps an indication of a grim outcome for the dwarf who carried it into battle.
Brother? Brother, where are you? Bloody crowd knocked me senseless. And, brother? By Durin's beard, no. No, this shouldn't be. This is my fault. I should have been more prepared. I should have listened to you. I should have been a better hunter. Ah! I will avenge you, brother. I will hunt this crowd in your name. And I will be the hunter you always wanted me to be.
So wait, this is the story of the dwarf we met. I can't remember his name. Torvin, I think was the name that he went by. I can't remember. Clever, most clever. This note written on a parchment seems to have been written with a precisely heretofore undiscovered code. It appears to be neither skip nor a substitution code. Could it be the note is ensorcelled? I probably must have said that a lot.
I wouldn't believe it if I hadn't seen it. But the orcs here have an ally in the stinking flies. Mordor has its share of stiffs. And I had thought the flies were just getting their fill. But they're moving and attacking like one. Like they got a brain. I've tried to avoid them. They build nests everywhere. And you can hear them buzzing all the time. The orcs here seem to worship the pests. Except, of course, when getting stung by them, the orcs say they're spies. And who are they spying for? They aren't yours, are they?
Alright. A relic of the freedmen of Nurn. This cup would be used in many rituals, including consecration ceremonies and matrimonies. Traditionally, the cup would be filled with bitter waters from the Sea of Nurn. Waters which would then be poured on an item or person as a blessing, or on the ground to give thanks. With Queen Marwen's mysterious malice, the cup has been used in increasingly more bizarre and disturbed rites. Oh, there it is.
By the white waters of the river Unwean, by the colors so many they burn bright, may Nurnen now look to Marwen, to my gift of second sight. May the elements of earth, fire, air form gateway to worlds unseen. Spirits of Valinor, hear my prayer, and grant great power new to the shore's queen.
Okay. This jar once held the elixir which sustains and corrupts the queen of the shore. When Marwen awoke, screaming from nightmares, showing her the Tower of Sauron approaching Nurn, she sought wisdom. She traveled to the Grey Mountains seeking answers. When she returned, she brought the elixir with her, and under its influence she spent many hours staring into the sacred flame. In it, she heard a calming voice and found hope for her people, if not for herself.
The north collapses upon us. The Tower of Nightmare builds fields in Norman. The Nameless One returns.
Mother, take this.
Thank you, my child.
These visions corrode you, and what medicine we still have is fast done away.
My visions are the hope of Nornen. If I must sacrifice myself for my people, so be it.
What happened in the Grey Mountains, Mother?
What happened, Lethariel? I left with the strength we need.
Okay, that's not ominous. This ring was given to the unhappy bandit Frolum by his beloved wife as a symbol of their undying love. It was violently pulled from Frolum's hand, along with his index finger, after his capture by the Dark Lord Sauron's minions. Sauron would use this ring to torment Frolum into betraying his comrades.
Who's this now? Some unhappy bandit named Forloon or Gorfad or something. He was screaming for his wife. The boys laid into him a bit. More than a bit. He dead? Nah. The boys know the big man powerful living and wants a word. His sack of dong might know where his thief pals are hiding. Strip him down. Take the ring too and give it to the boss. He likes that stuff when he wakes up.
Alrighty. Carved from the bone from an unknown animal of immense size, this map of the heavens was no doubt used by a lore master of some skill. Only a few select individuals would have been able to use this chart to track the course of the stars in the skies, using complex and possibly arcane computations to predict the future. Where is it? There we go.
By that time, we'd grown used to seeing them. But the shorter one had grown cold, distant. He could read the leaves, the lines in a man's hand, the bumps on his head. He could see, you know? And I guess it got to him. The knowing. They'd go off together, and you could tell when they met up with the orcs. The sky would darken, and there would be hail, or rain. Winds that shook the trees. And then, sure enough, everything would clear. They never spoke about any of that. Although we'd always want to know. Best not, they'd say. The two left without saying a word. Only it was funny lying. Because the shorter fellow left behind all his maps and the odd little board he used to see into the future. Traveling light, maybe. Or maybe... I don't know. Maybe you thought he'd have no more use for it.
Alright. I need to go down. Some great force rent this wizard's staff asunder. Fashioned from a sapling, this gnarled staff served as walking stick, a magical rod and weapon for a wandering wizard. What became of its owner and how it was broken is a mystery. I'm kind of trying to hurry these up a little, because I want to get them all done this video.
Funny thing that. They told us their names plenty of times, but we all forgot. To a man, we forgot. It was like they didn't want us remembering. After a while, they were just the two Istari, and sometimes the big one and the little one. Can't say how I can't remember. I remember the bigger one telling us stories of a goblin city, of a man who could turn himself into a bear, of the time when, well, I guess it didn't matter too much to him that some of his stories needed some cleaning up, or would scare a dead man out of his grave. When the bigger one left, he took his cane, but he left a walking stick behind, with all these little notches cut into it. He was keeping track of something for sure.
Alright. The Ungol egg has clearly been kept as a memento, but for what reason? Does it represent yet another casualty in the burgeoning war in Mordor? The one being fought between the forces of Sauron and the children of Queen Shelob? Or is it just a remnant of some Uruk's supper? No, not dirty enough to be that of an Uruk's supper.
I speak with the mouth of Sauron, the second Dark Lord of this Middle-earth. Our will is his will. Mordor is ours, and fairly won. You will take this message from Sauron back to your Spider Queen Shelob, the last daughter of Ungoliant. Your eggs will not be allowed to hatch in Mordor. Your children will no longer prey on the Morgul flies. You will depart this realm, abandon your nests in non-Ungol. You have grown fat on our generosity. We have fed you as we would a pet, allowed you to run unfettered. This ends now. Our union, as it was, has ended. Our will is irresistible. We have spoken.
Alright. Merchants across Middle-earth know if it's Gondorian, it's good, and they freely accept these silver pieces known as Castor as currency, trading them across the civilized realms and with almost all the races of Middle-earth. This particular coin likely made its way into Mordor through the realm's primary trade route, the Sea of Nurnen.
It's good. A coin of the realm.
Sure, but it's the coin of Gondor's realm.
If you don't want it.
I didn't say that, Cap. What about a few less of these and a little more of that elvish cloth you brought over from Eregion?
I think we can do that.
Alright. Dagger may be a generous application of the word. This is a crude shank and it will never be used for anything but skullduggery. Oryx generally carry blades of this ilk when engaging in their misdeeds, and the blades are often coated with crude poisons to ensure a victim's painful death. Uruks will often carry daggers like this one into combat, but only employ them as a last resort.
You've been recalled?
Aye, to Osgiliath. They're burning the bodies there.
It's that bad.
It's worse. We've abandoned Duathang, either to the orcs or the outcasts. I can't imagine which is worse. We're thin on the ground here.
2 regiments worth called back home. Maybe a dozen more down with the sweats.
Maybe even more than that. I don't think we can hide it anymore, no matter how they change up the patrols. The orcs may have already smelt it out too. They're getting uppity in Mordor. Here, look at this.
That's quite a blade. Where'd you get it?
Off an orc scout. I expect he won't need it anymore. You keep it.
Alright. This key was crafted long ago by the locksmith of Khazad-dûm. It is able to open a wide array of locks. It would be of great value to a burglar or spy.
The orcs are making things mighty difficult. This might be my last one in a long while.
My wife and I, we need to be elsewhere.
The lockbox. Open it. Now.
Why?
These are hard times. And I need to know you can pay. Up front. Well now, that's hardly enough for both.
We've always... That's all I have. Please, my wife.
Should have saved more. Now, room for 1 on the boat. You decide.
What an ass. For 1,000 years, this skull has been a sacred relic of the most feared orc assassin cult within Mordor, the Death's Hand. They hold it as a symbol of their glorious future free of the scourge of man.
Please, my wife.
Yes, the Uruk have told me you to go on about her. Tell us what we need to know. Where are the bandits? Where are your friends?
I need to see her. I need...
Yes, your wife. Again. It has been a long time. And while the physical pain of your torture will pass, you will always hurt inside. The loss is like a gaping wound. You have suffered quite enough torment. And it is time for your misery to end. Your wife is waiting.
Damn you. They're in the woods. The hidden woods.
Take him away.
What you said?
Yes, our promise. You will be reunited with your wife, now long dead. Know you have betrayed your friends and doomed yourself over a distant memory, a phantom. And when you are reunited with your wife, know that we will also carry your skull as a trifle, and a reminder that our will is irresistible. Now go. Your wife awaits.
Torn banner. Ungol have set upon partially consumed this crimson banner representing the Dark Lord Sauron. This is not merely a symbolic act. The oversized children of Shelob are organizing against the Uruks, forming raiding parties to bring down what they consider to be invaders into their lands. Whatever truce may have existed between the factions has now ended.
They got the whole raiding party and ate the flag. See the webs? It's spiders. Filthy creatures. Likely coming up from the valley down south. We should clear it out. You should shut your big yap. Don't nobody come back from that place. Wonder if they're working for Sheila. Sauron used to feed her, and I guess she don't remember whose pet she is. It might be time for a reminder.
And with that, that's all of them. This was quite interesting. Like I enjoyed it, like learning more about the land and the people we've met and whatnot, and more about Shelob, because Shelob did terrify me when watching the movies because I have arachnophobia. But I was interested in knowing that that's what it's all going on there. But anyways, I'm going to end this video here. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, drop it a quick like. Subscribe for more stuff to come. Hit the notification bell now when I post, and I'll see you in the next one.